It gives me great pleasure to introduce Ben Fuchs. Ben is a consultant based in London and a longtime friend and associate of IIFAC. Today I'm going to ask him a few questions on the subject of strategic decision making. So Ben, how important is the issue of strategic decision making?
Well, it's very serious. It's a very consequential issue because every success, every failure, every opportunity that's either seized or missed by an organization is the result of a decision that somebody or some group made or failed to make.
So tell me, what are the mistakes that people make when they're trying to reach a strategic decision?
In a recent study that was done on over 400 major decisions by big organizations, both corporate and public sector, over a period of 20 years, they found that the success rate's about 50%. Most of the failures are due to people factors and the decision-making process itself rather than anything that's extrinsic to the organization. These are preventable mistakes, absolutely. Poor decision-making processes were used in 2/3 of major decisions according to this study. There's a few classic mistakes that we've identified. One of which is neglecting key stakeholders. Often decisions get made without consulting key people that need to be involved in the decision. For example, a decision that's made without the people who are going to have to implement it, without consulting them. Or a decision made without consulting a key stakeholder group, for example, suppliers or customers. A truly rational decision allows for questioning the thinking behind which the decision is framed and by which the solution is framed. It questions the politics and influences on the decision rather than just going with the powerful voices that want a particular solution. And so what happens in dysfunctional decision making is there's a premature commitment to the solution, and then what happens is there's a process which is kind of like railroading a decision, really. You're either with us or against us, right? So the message goes out pretty clearly that if you want to stay in good with the people in power, then you need to be on board with this decision. But that doesn't get the best debate. That doesn't get the most robust and rigorous intelligence available to the organization, because it becomes a politicized process rather than a rational process of really evaluating what are the issues, what are the problems, what are the best solutions, and why. Much as we like to think we're rational, often what happens is we make a decision based on a gut feeling, and then we rationalize it, right? And what that does is it creates a cognitive bias. In other words, we look for evidence that supports our gut feeling or what we already believe. So we look for the evidence that supports our solution, and we ignore or minimize the importance of evidence that disconfirms our idea or our solution, and we amplify or maximize any evidence that shows that our solution is the best one. So we're coming at it with a cognitive bias, a distortion, if you like. You know? And that is based on emotion, because we already have an intuitive or emotional response to an idea. In order for a decision to be effective, it not only has to be the right decision, it also has to be implemented. Right? Too often decisions get made and then nothing happens because the people below aren't on board with it. Right? So in order for people to be on board, they need to feel included in the process. So when a decision emerges, there's a broader base of consensus and agreement, and a sense that it's going to be implemented, that there's actually enthusiasm for it. It's not just something that we're being ordered to do. And I think that's one of the big success factors, is to enroll and reconcile key stakeholders early in the process and to manage stakeholder engagement right the way through, so that when the decision's made, you can move straight to an implementation strategy that will be effective.